Very important. Johnny Depp says he was actually the person who was abused. The jurors came back and said they didn't believe what Amber Heard said, especially relating to the sexual violence. So talk to me about this interview where she explains why she was discussing, why she wrote the Washington op-ed piece and gave another story than she gave in the courtroom, as far as I could see.
You know, I don't know what she's doing at this point. I think that, you know, it was abundantly clear that the jury did not believe her. And having to go back and now explain what she did and why, I think I'm a little disappointed that we're even watching this. If the shoes were reversed and if she would have won and Johnny Depp would have lost, do you think that a male abuser would be interviewed by Savannah Guthrie in the Today Show? I don't think so. So, you know, why are we even giving her airtime moving forward? And she is continuing to support what she wrote in the op-ed. She's continuing to say that she did it not to point out, you know, what was happening in her and Mr. Depp's marriage, which was not believed by this jury. And she's continuing to propagate the lie that she told during trial that the jury found was a lie.
Yeah.
And hence the defamation.
And then that leads me to my next question, right? I've been asked, why doesn't Johnny Depp bring a temporary restraining order against? He really can't logistically do that because the remedy would be a new trial, and he's already won one trial. So does he just let her continue to make those statements that most of us who watch that trial from beginning to end don't believe and see what goes? What would you advise?
I think that he's handling it appropriately. He's moving on with his life. And I think that that's what you would expect. I agree with you. You don't want to try to seek out a TRO or a gag order on her. I don't know that it's feasible anyway. She's really not. I've heard other commentators at times say that she was maybe committing defamation again by republishing the defamatory statement. But at this point, Johnny Depp's reputation is not being damaged any further. In fact, with every time that she speaks, you know, people are rallying behind him at this point. So I think he just moves forward. I think eventually people will stop talking about her and stop wanting to hear from her.
All right. Well, now you say that, but you do also mention that we have an interview that played on one of the major morning shows, right? And she's selectively appearing on some shows for reasons we don't yet know why, except the broad audience and maybe other reasons. And people are listening. I mean, I woke up and I saw that she shops at TJ Maxx and TMZ had it. And we know how that works now that we listened to the trial. Anyone who's ever had a high-profile case knows that, you know, you can get made arrangements to have cameras there and get paid, you know, through a third party. I don't know if that happened here, but we kind of listened to the TMZ former employee Morgan Tremaine at the trial. But so there has to be a market out there for what she wants. And I also read that she may be getting a $1 million book deal for a book called Revenge. I don't know if it's true or not. But are we heightening somebody that went through the legal system and didn't win as a hero and taking Johnny Depp and saying, well, we're just throwing it aside right now?
Well, to your point, and that's what I was getting at the very beginning of my last answer, was that if it was a male abuser, if it was a man would be in the shoes of Amber Heard right now, I don't think that those interviews would even be granted. I think that there are a percentage of people, believe it or not, that believe her. And, you know, they'll comment on, you know, social media posts and are very upset about the results of the verdict. So there is a small audience for folks that are actually believing her and want to hear from her. I think that this is such a high profile celebrity trial that people are just going to, you know, eat it up. And therefore media outlets are going to continue to play it as long as people are eating it up. You know, I remember back after the OJ verdict and the civil verdict were said and done, he wrote a book, If I Did It. And then all of the proceeds were grabbed. If she writes a book, I mean, Johnny Depp could actually start executing on his judgment. And it, you know, could be pretty easily done. You record the judgment in Virginia, you have the California courts recognize it. You start attaching property and bank accounts. And when money comes in, he takes it right out. So she should also be careful about how much she publicizes this, because he might actually start collecting on that judgment.